Oh my gosh. Oh, looks like somebody's really excited about this. Now, what that T.Rex screamed about, and what he was probably really excited about, was the breakdown of the scene of this right here. In this breakdown, let's meet the four main characters from this scene. This right here is Dr. Alan Grant. He's a paleontologist in the movie, and he plays a very crucial role in this scene. This right here is Dr. Ian Malcolm. He's a mathematician in the movie, and I guess for this scene, I guess you could say he kind of played a crucial role, but there's one decision that he made that kind of made me question what he did. But you guys will see, and yeah. This right here is Tim Murphy. He is a rambunctious little child who's very bouncy and has a lot of energy, and kind of gets himself caught into a very interesting situation in this scene in particular. This right here is Lex Murphy. She is a sister of Tim Murphy, and let's just say she kind of gets both her and her brother Tim into some trouble. And I'll get to that here in a little bit as I'm showing off the scene and whatnot, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. One thing I want to mention before I move any more forward, there is one character that they did not include in this Lego scene, and that is, his name is Donald Gennaro, and he played the lawyer in the movie. And well, let's just say this character didn't really last too long. If anything, he didn't last too much further from this scene, let's just say. How I started with this scene is by showing a goat chained up to a steel pole. What that goat is there for is for food and bait for the dinosaurs to eat. And after we see that goat, we then pan over to see Dr. Alan Grant talking to the lawyer and the kids to make sure that they are okay. After that, we see Dr. Alan Grant returning to his own car with Dr. Ian Malcolm in it. And what Dr. Allen tells Dr. Ian Malcolm is that basically the kids and the lawyer in the other car don't have any power, any communications at all, just like them. So they just had to sit there in the rain and just wait for things to come back on. After Alan Grant checks up on the kids and runs to his car, we jump back in the scene of this car, showing Tim jumping out with the goggles on, scaring his older sister Lexi. And with that, the lawyer turns to him and says, "Hey, are those heavy?" And Tim goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well then, put them back because they are expensive." After the lawyer tells Tim to put the night vision goggles away, Tim gets goofing around with them, starts using them, realizes that they have night vision, starts looking outside and stuff. And then after a while, Tim starts to notice something. Turns around and asks his sister Lexi, "Hey, do you feel something?" And yet he turns around and he leans over towards those two little cups of water, and he notices that the cups of water start to shake. After Tim notices that the water is shaking, he turns around to see if that goat is still sitting on that steel pole. Well, comes to find out, he found the chain on that steel pole swinging around freely. After we notice that the goat is gone, Lexi asks, "Hey, where did the goat go?" Well, come to find out, sooner or later, she got some lamb chops. So after Lexi notices that the goat disappeared and she got some pork chops, we then just start to see why that goat disappeared. If you've been sitting here and wondering why and how that goat disappeared, well, here you go. This T-Rex right here, well, he saw the goat on the pole, and well, he was hungry. And also, he veered off to his right to see, he saw some seconds, and he was also still very hungry. After the T-Rex saw some seconds for food, he decided to break in, because he noticed that there was no power running through the gate at all. After the T-Rex breaks in, we then get a view of the T-Rex walking across the visual of Dr. Ian Malcolm and Dr. Alan Grant. After we see the T-Rex walk across the visual of Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Ian Malcolm, Dr. Alan Grant gives a key trick to work around the T-Rex. He said, "Keep absolutely still. Their visual works on complete movement that they see." So after the T-Rex breaks in, Dr. Alan Grant tells, Ian Malcolm to hold still so, the T-Rex doesn't see them. Of course, Lexi, like I said, got her and her brother, pretty much caught in an interesting situation. Well, here it is. As the T-Rex broke in, Lexi decided to grab a light to try to better see the T-Rex, right? Well, comes to find out that the T-Rex saw the light, got interested, and got eye to eye with Lexi, as we can see here. And from there, her brother Tim was panicking and saying, "Look, turn the light off. Don't get us in trouble here. Turn the light off." After the T-Rex notices that there's kids in there, with the light being shown and whatnot, he's obviously figured out that this is probably food for him. But now he's probably nosing at this car and probably trying to think, okay, so how am I going to get these kids out here so I can eat them? Because obviously they're food to him. The attempt that the T-Rex takes to get to his food, which are the children, he takes the attempt through the top of the car. But what saves the children from getting eaten is the top window from the top of the car, which protects the kids from the T-Rex as the T-Rex is trying to get to the kids and tries to eat them. At this point, the T-Rex has had enough. He tried going through the top of the car. He couldn't get to him. And, he's obviously hungry. So he did what he had to do. He had to tilt over the truck. After the T-Rex flips over the car, he starts gnawing at the tires because he thinks that he's getting to the kids easier and quicker that way. But in all reality, he kind of realizes that is not the case at all. So, Dr. Alan Grant does something to save the kids from being eaten by the T-Rex. What he does, he comes out and he grabs a flare. Now, like I just said, and more specifically, just like what Dr. Alan Grant said, the T-Rex is distracted and only sees movement by the things that, move. And so what he does is that he gets out of his car, this is him right here, and he starts taking a flare, which is that little red thing in his hand right there. And he starts swinging it in front of the T-Rex, getting his distraction, decides to take the flare and throw it, and the T-Rex will start to walk towards that flare to make him walk away. Remember how I said in the very beginning of this video, Dr. Ian Malcolm kind of played a crucial role, but also made some very questionable decisions on what he did? Well, here we are. So after Dr. Alan Grant got out with a flare, got the attention of the T-Rex, waved it in front of him, threw the flare, got the T-Rex to walk away. Great, awesome. Got the T-Rex away from the kids. The kids are in no danger now. But Dr. Ian Malcolm decided to take a flare of his own, distract the T-Rex, and have the T-Rex run after him. Now, why? I don't really know why, but that happened. If I was Dr. Ian Malcolm and I saw Dr. Alan Grant doing what he was doing, I would have stayed far away, stayed inside the car, and minded my own business, because I would have to do whatever I had to do to get that T-Rex away from me. But because of what Dr. Ian Malcolm did, it got the lawyer eaten up. And that's why the lawyer didn't last too far from this scene in the movie. After we see the T-Rex get distracted by Dr. Ian Malcolm, had the T-Rex run after him, and then the T-Rex got eaten the lawyer, we then come straight over to Dr. Alan Grant trying to save the kids from underneath the car that was destroyed by the T-Rex. Now, when Dr. Alan Grant gets at least Lexi out, and as he's in the middle trying to get Tim out, Lexi starts to holler and scream because she comes eye to eye with the T-Rex. But what Dr. Alan Grant does is he shuts her up and tells her, look, don't move, don't scream, don't do anything. Because if so, he won't be able to see us. Of course, I had to add the famous footprint scene that the T-Rex added as he was approaching Dr. Alan Grant and Lexi Murphy as he was approaching them. Now, this is where we see the T-Rex start approaching Dr. Alan Grant and Lexi after Lexi screamed and Dr. Alan told Lexi to be quiet and don't move because the T-Rex won't be able to either see them or hear them if they don't move or they don't make a sound. So after the T-Rex approaches Dr. Alan Grant and Lexi, I don't know what the T-Rex's thinking was, but apparently I guess as it goes, the T-Rex couldn't see his food. So he decided to step on over to the side and decided to push the car around to better see both Dr. Alan Grant and Lexi so that, you know, he can get to him better. Now, after the T-Rex pushes the car around, it pushes both Dr. Alan Grant and Lexi around more behind the car, which pretty much in a way it protects both of them from the T-Rex. And I think the T-Rex kind of like put himself in more trouble to try to get to them so that he can have his food, but in our reality, he can't because he kind of made it a little bit more difficult to get to. After the T-Rex takes the car, spins it around, pins Lexi and Dr. Alan Grant to the wall, he then starts to nose the car and tries to flip the car over because he knows that Tim is still inside the car. But he can't get to him because obviously the situation for the T-Rex to get in there, he can't because it's too small for him, and Tim is stuck in there. With the attempt that the T-Rex made to try to get to Tim, he obviously failed. So what he started to do, he started pushing around this car a little bit more, which then forced both Dr. Alan Grant and Lexi to jump out of the paddock area more and fight for them to stay on the edge from them falling off. But with that, these two got pushed out the edge of the area that they were driving through, and were struggling to stay on a rope, and they were trying to fight back. But that wasn't the case. The T-Rex eventually pushed his car enough to where it eventually just fell forward. And with the T-Rex pushing the car off the edge of the road, the T-Rex screams and hollers because he's probably really upset that he couldn't get any more food. Now, with that T-Rex screaming and hollering, it is the very end of the T-Rex Breakout scene from the very first ever Jurassic Park movie in 1993. And with that, I really enjoyed making this and showcasing you guys all the little details from the Lego set to the movie. You know, this scene from the movie is considered groundbreaking because, or if anything, the whole movie is groundbreaking because this whole movie is the very first ever movie that pretty much showcased CGI, I think and believe. Don't hold me to that. I'm not that much of a movie buff, but I think I'm kind of getting there. But yeah, I really enjoyed showing this to you guys. I thought it was neat, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you guys enjoyed it, I would appreciate if you guys really liked the video, and if so, please subscribe if you really do enjoy my content. And with that, I'm out. See ya.